Good evening, Professor. So, for this week's ethics discussion, I read chapter 25 in our ethics book, and this chapter was particularly interesting for me because it talked about how student reporters how they should conduct themselves when reporting on a story for a university that they attend themselves. This chapter all started with a reporter at Santana University, and this reporter reported on a geology professor who had still not posted the grades for three different classes, even after the classes had been dismissed for over a month and a half. The reporter thought that there might be a simple explanation for the late grade submission, and after interviewing a bunch of students and making several attempts to contact the professor, she finally approached the professor at his office, who gladly let her in and decided to be interviewed. The professor answered the reporter's questions, and the reporter constantly reminded him that he was on the record and that his comments would be shared. During the interview, the reporter kind of made a mental note that it seemed like from time to time the professor was trying to suss out the names of the students who had contacted him or who had referred the reporter to the story, but the reporter didn't budge. So once the interview was completed, she was actually contacted by the professor who requested that the comments not be used at all and they be retracted. When the reporter informed him that he was on the record and he willfully submitted to the interview, he didn't care and threatened to sue her, the university, and the newspaper if the information went forward. Now she consulted with her editor and a journalism professor who told her that she was on solid ground and proceeded to go ahead with writing the story. She showed her comments to the professor before she actually went ahead to publish, and he reiterated his threat, and she again didn't budge. Not long after she started writing up the article, she got a call from the registrar saying that the professor had finally submitted the grades for those three classes, with the registrar noting the power of the press in this circumstance. And the story went forward, and the comments were made public. Now, I think personally that student journalists who have a vested interest to take this to the next level when they graduate need to learn right now how to keep their ground when interviewing people, even ones who they think may have power over them. The journalist in this case informed her subject numerous times that his comments would be public, even prefacing her questions with phrases like, just for the record, and something like that. It just seems like nothing more than buyer's remorse on the part of the professor who wanted to retract his comments. Now, reporters just need to have faith in the steps they took in their reporting process, and if they follow through with their ethical decision making that's been instilled in them through their education, then they should be on solid footing when reporting on any kind of story in the future.